This week on Seagar's Extreme Kayak Fishing Challenge, I'm hooking up with Bubba Bedry and Damon Bungard in Palestine, Texas to do something I've never done before, and that's catching big alligator gar in my kayak.
It's a good fish, dude.
Stick around. This is going to be a great show.
These are all basically musky flies from mainly what I fish in Tennessee, but these big gar are feeding on big shad and stuff. So these big, nice, fluffy, these are all from Vermont Fly Guys, my buddy Brian. And then a fellow named Philip guy just came by, friend of Bubba's, and he brought me these great carp flies.
Spent some time at home making up some heavy leaders, 100, 130 pound test. These are wind-on leaders made with Seagar threadlock, hollow core braid, and then Seagar premium fluorocarbon, 100 pound.
We bottom fish similar, like for fishing for catfish. Big chunk baits like you'd use for shark fishing, and just fishing the bottom, free line and no weight. The problem is probably going to be getting him up top. He's going to go for a sleigh ride, I'm sure. You're going to drag him all over the lake. It could be an hour battle or 2 hours. It's going to be real interesting. I'm sure of that.
All right, Bubba, obviously, I've never caught one of these small, let alone some of the big ones you got here. Got any tips for me? You know, what am I doing to present that bait?
Yeah, the first tip is you're gonna have to have a lot of patience. Second tip would be when one does pick up the bait, don't get excited. But you just gotta let him swim around with it, and he'll go in a big circle, and then he'll stop, and you'll see your line go to jerking. And what he's doing is he's turning that bait around and placing it to swallow it. Then he'll take off and swim again, and normally he'll come right back to where he picked your bait up from. When he does that, you know he ate it. He's coming back to look for the other half of that fish. Then you know it's time to catch him. Jim, I'm gonna cut you up some bait for your rods. That head right there, you wanna put that one on whichever rod your favorite rod. That's their favorite piece right there.
Sorry, I didn't bring a hacksaw with me.
I got two.
Oh, Jim's gonna take it?
Well, like I said, it's not, we're sitting here soaking baits. It's not like he cast anything out for me.
All right, Bubba, what's going on, man?
We got one taking the bait. He just swam by out there and picked it up. He's gonna go somewhere comfortable and eat it. Yeah, you bring him over here by me and he'll start jumping around again. They'll go up there and they'll play possum. As soon as you think he's done fighting, then he'll take off again. So stay ready, you know, in case he takes off.
Got myself a first alligator gar here. A little help from Bubba. And they're a big ugly fish. You want me to just kind of bring him up to you there like that?
Two ways you can do this. One, you can put your rod through this, but since we're on this side of the fish, I'm gonna just go over the leader and all. And I'm just gonna lead.
What are the chances of him jumping up towards me?
He's going to.
Oh, that's...
But
not
I got
going
it.
up.
Don't worry about it.
Well, we've been fishing about an hour. We already got one. Stick around for more great action fishing with our buddy, Bubba Bedray. Woo!
He's gone. Congratulations.
Boom!
Seagar's Extreme Kayak Fishing Challenge is brought to you by Jackson Kayak. One family, many waters. Orion Coolers. Never lose your cool. Yak Attack. Make it yours. Seagar, the inventor and perfecter of fluorocarbon fishing lines and leaders. Power Pole Micro Anchor. Swift, silent, secure, and small.
Well, we're back fishing for alligator gar with Bubba Bedray. We had a nutty day yesterday and we're looking forward to more big fish today.
Here we go. One step at a time, don't be living on the line. I don't need a friend, I got more than on the mind.
We're here in Palestine, Texas. With guide Bubba Bedray, alligator gar guide. He's on Team Orion. We've met the last couple years, and he just keeps showing me gigantic photos of monster gar with Orion coolers. So I said, you know what? I think I gotta come down there. I gotta bring a fly rod and go for it. Friend Jim Salmons is here. We said, hey, let's make a show of it. So here we are, outside of Palestine, Texas, fishing for gar that some are bigger than this kayak, pretty sure in here.
So what I'm doing here is, because we want to get the baits way out there in the channel and I have to power pole in here in shallower water. So tossing one bait out, paddling away from it in free spool, dropping another one out, and then putting it in free spool, and dropping another one out, putting it in free spool, and then back paddling into the shallow water, and then power poling down. So I can hold position. And then you just sit here, reels out of gear, clicker on, and wait for those fish to pick it up. He's just laying here. No, he's not. It is really a patience game, man. I had to let this thing run for 10 minutes at least. They just swim with it. They swim with that bait and swim with it. Then I thought he came off, but I guess he just was swimming back toward me. One of the things that you're lucky with a fish like this is these things actually come up in gulp air. So they can actually be handled for a long time out of the water. I mean, like I said, they're kind of a prehistoric fish, but they're very, very hardy. Their skin is like tough as steel, and having somebody like him, maybe a two-man operation. Here, let me put my foot down, there you go. Where do you want to be? Yeah. He just swims right through that lasso. Woo! Ah!
So we get a lot of questions on what's my favorite fly fishing knot. And the knot that I like leaves a loop on the fly, so the fly can actually move a lot better than being dictated by the stiffness of the line. So to tie it, you just tie an overhand loop. Feed your fly. In this case, it's a little crawfish fly. Go back through that loop. Give it a twist, and then back through the loop again. Wet it, pull it tight. This is my go-to knot.
We're gonna fly this one out where we've been seeing a real big fish come up, and we're gonna fly this bait out and drop it in his area. hopefully he'll come by and pick it up.
I let him just keep playing, or what do I do here, brother? Let's see what happens. That one starts to go again.
You might land a double out of a kayak. That'll be the first time. Anybody ever landed a double gar out of a kayak?
That was cool. Hey, Damon. You might want to come over here. Well, we got one boat on the boat getting picked up. I got a fish on it. I got another one on the other bait. So we kind of have 3 rods kind of in play right now. Like I said, sometimes it's a matter of teamwork. I mean, he's close, so here. Got it? This might be in a branch now. Okay. Got it.
All right. Sure, he puts them in my feet.
And that's why we like to do this as a team. Big fish as a team on the kayaks is just so much easier. Woo! I mean, that's not even a giant one, but man, super fun. Kind of had a double hook up there, so definitely needed the assist on that one. Go chase down the other one. The other one got wrapped in a tree limb, but yeah, we did that solo, kayak anyway. Let's get that hook cut out of him and get him back in the water.
See you later.
100% kayak on that one, baby. That's fun. Sitting on my hands, basically just kind of following this thing. I don't want to get too much line like we were doing with the other rods, because my other reels are much bigger. I'm having to keep it a little bit closer, keeping slack line, paddling up on it when I need to, winding out some slack when I need to. Let go of it right there. Jeez, where the hell is it? Yeah. So we got a bunch of lines in the water. Damon's basically fly fishing, but you know, he wants to catch a big fish too. And occasionally, like we had 3 lines going at one time. I needed to be able to hand off to him. He's not super familiar with using lever drag reels, so I'm gonna give a real brief rundown of how to use one of these reels. On a lever drag reel, you can preset your drag with the small knob on the side, so you know exactly where it is. You're never gonna be in the wrong position. So you preset it, put it at the weight you want it at, and that way you'll never go past it. But like I said, the beauty of the lever drag reel is when you get that fish really close, you can just back that way off, still be in drag, still be controlling that spool. My line's starting to move. You're still controlling that spool. You never go completely out of gear, so you don't have to worry about backlashing, but you've just got enough pressure to hold that line in place. If the fish decides it's gonna run, it can run without yanking the rod out of your hand or snapping the line or anything like that. You think I should wind on it, boss? Yeah, I'm gonna get myself in a better position so I can not get dragged around this. We've been on the water about 13 hours. I'm kind of tired. Trying to deal with this thing by myself would be a handful. I'm gonna put the rod through. Good fish, fun fish, weird battle. I mean, I felt him, it went underneath a limb, but I could feel it wasn't locked tight underneath the limb, but I could feel the line just going back and forth and back and forth, and I just stayed there and stayed with him and kept changing my angle. And finally I got him to swim out, and when it popped up, it was so much bigger than I was expecting, because I was fighting a branch, you know, for a good part of it. So it's hard to tell how big the fish was, except for the occasional bam, bam, and he would tug. But man, when his head came out of the water, I'm like, oh my gosh, that's a big girl. 35 and a half girth.
144 pounds. Length times girth divided by 700. And it'll be off a couple of pounds, but that'll give you a good estimate of what the fish weighs.
Woo. Let's let this girl go.
Seagar's Extreme Kayak Fishing Challenge is brought to you by Jackson Kayak. One family, many waters. Yak Attack. Make it yours. Seagar, the inventor and perfecter of fluorocarbon fishing lines and leaders. Malone, changing the way you get there. Orion Coolers, never lose your cool.
Welcome back. It's day 3 of our alligator gar hunt with Bubba Bedry. We're in Texas, chasing dinosaurs. So I had the chance to use one of the very first Jackson Kayak Coosa FDs, which is their flex drive. Very different for me. You know, I'm used to being a paddler, but some really cool things about it was, like, I was able to set my baits and then back away from them. The flex drive's also got this cool feature that if you go into shallow water and you bump something, the prop will actually come up and won't damage it. So some really neat features. They put a lot of thought into it. So they're scavengers. These guys are picking up chunks of dead stuff off the bottom, but they gotta be predators. With teeth like that, they gotta be predators.
Yeah, they're definitely a predator. They're an opportunist.
Yeah.
They don't pursue their game. They wait for their game to mess up and swim too close to their mouth.
You know, I always like fishing with guys who kind of have the same attitude we have. Catch and release, you know, not just abusing the fishery so you can come out here and catch these fish over and over. And Bubba's just been absolutely great. A great teacher too. You know, I've learned a lot from him on how to handle these big fish. Having Bubba with us on this trip and showing us around, and it has been just invaluable. You know, it's been huge. There's no way we could have done this without him.
My fascination with it, well, actually is with the guiding side of it, is the being able to make other people's dreams come true that want to see one of these fish, that's never seen them, that's only read about them in books. Being able to see their face the first time they pull up one of these big fish.
And I always say, you know, you don't need to hire a guide for every single day of your trip, but even if you just hire them for that first day to kind of get you dialed in, it's money well worth spending. It's right here, probably 30 feet away from me, if that.
but we got the same fish.
Yeah, one of the hooks is just laying there.
We got 3 lines on the same fish.
Yeah, this guy swam through all of our lines.
I'm making you a friendship bracelet.
Well, I've got Seaguar Pink Label fluorocarbon as well as Seaguar Fluoro Premier. They're both top quality fluorocarbon leader. The reason I like to use the Pink Label a little bit more is that above water, I can see that a lot better than the regular fluorocarbon, but it still is just as invisible in the water. So either one does a great job. I like to have that 100-pound a lot of times on big fish. So it gives you something to hang on to. You're much less likely to get cut than by the wire or by your straight braid. My goodness. It's a good fish, dude. If this is not the bigger of the 2 that I've got, I mean, it's big. I got her. All kayak. All kayak.
By yourself, I just sat back and watched.
Woohoo! All I know is it's heavy. Yes. Thank you so much, brother.
We did it.
Oh man, successful adventure. Here she goes. Whew. What an epic trip chasing these Garzillas. I hope you enjoyed the show. We sure had a great time here.